In a bustling city where crime is rampant and police corruption is entrenched, Javier, a man in his 40s, goes to a job interview. A former Marine who served in covert operations, he chose a quiet life after retirement, but still remains in excellent physical condition. Passionate about martial arts, he honed his skills in personal defense, believing that self-knowledge is the best weapon in an unpredictable world. As he walks toward the interview location, the sound of sirens rents the air. A group of police officers, visibly tense and agitated, intercept him. Javier, surprised, tries to understand the situation. They accuse him of being involved in a recent theft, without any tangible proof. They don't even bother to check his identity or background, unaware of his honorable past. Without hesitation, the police begin to search his belongings. When they discover a large sum of money that he had saved for an investment, their faces light up with a malicious smile. They look at each other with satisfaction before declaring, with an accusatory tone, that this money is suspicious and that they must seize it for investigation. Javier, in shock, tries to defend himself, explaining where the money comes from and its legitimacy. But his words fall on deaf ears. The police, too preoccupied with their own greed, completely ignore him. They order him to follow them to the station, threatening to charge him with criminal charges if he ever dares to protest. Javier then realizes that he is trapped in a system that favors abuse of power and corruption over innocence. Determined to prove his innocence and get his money back, Javier begins to think of a plan. His years of military training taught him to stay calm and think strategically, even in the most tense situations. By carefully observing the police officers, he notices their weaknesses and the internal conflicts that inhabit them. However, he cannot let this injustice go. Deep down, the Marine's spirit awakens, fueled by a dull anger against the abuse of power. As they walk away with his money, he takes a deep breath, his mind focusing on the present moment. Taking advantage of a moment of inattention from the police, Javier takes action. In a flash, he uses his martial arts skills to quickly neutralize the first police officer who comes nearby. His military training taught him not only to fight, but also to move with agility and remain calm under pressure. He takes a step forward, dodges an attempt by the officer to subdue him, and disarms him with a fluid technique he has practiced hundreds of times. The police, caught off guard, reacted slowly. Javier then continues, moving like a specter across the stage, exploiting every weakness. He pivots, hits the second police officer in the stomach, knocks him off balance, and knocks him to the ground. The other agents' cries of surprise ring out, but their confusion costs them dearly. In a few moments, he managed to incapacitate several of them, their weapons scattered on the ground. Once the police are neutralized, Javier is faced with a choice: flee and hide or take the risk of confronting the rest of the corrupt system. He knows that every second counts. He rushes towards the police vehicle, determined to get his money back before they come to. Bringing the officers to the ground, Javier takes a deep breath, his anger mingling with cold determination. He stands up, looking at the unarmed agents with an intensity that leaves no room for doubt. "Listen to me carefully," he begins, his voice calm but firm. "I'm not the thief you think I am. I am a citizen of this city, a former Marine, and I am here to do what is right. You wear a uniform that symbolizes protection, justice. But right now you are betraying that responsibility." He steps forward, looking them straight in the eye. "You are trained to protect the innocent, not to intimidate and rob them. Corruption should not be second nature to you. By choosing to engage in this type of abuse, you are sullying the honor of your profession." The police, initially contemptuous, begin to perceive the seriousness of the situation. Fear and confusion slowly settle into their eyes. Javier continues, his voice growing more urgent. "I know how you feel. Maybe you feel like you're above the law, that you can do whatever you want. But know that this city needs good men and women, not predators." A heavy silence settles in. The police exchange nervous glances. Javier takes the opportunity to share his story. "I served my country, I protected lives. Every day I had to make difficult decisions to keep those around me safe. I didn't do this to see men like you abuse their power to steal and intimidate. He leans forward slightly, as if to push them to think. What you are doing today is not just about me. This affects our families, our friends, and the integrity of this community. Think about this before you get up. Think about what you could do differently. One of the police officers, visibly uncomfortable, murmurs, We never wanted. Javier interrupts him, aware that this opportunity could change the situation. Then stop this now. Make the choice to change. You can still do it. But it has to start today, here with you. After the incident, news spread quickly in the city. The locals, initially distrustful of the police, begin to see Javier as a local hero. His courageous confrontation with police officers resonates in the hearts of many citizens, especially among the youth. Inspired by his courage, they gather at the local park to listen to his stories and learn self-defense techniques. Javier, with his wisdom and humility, becomes a respected figure. He offers free classes in the park, transforming the space into a community-building place. Children and teenagers flock, not only to learn how to defend themselves, but also to hear stories of resilience and strength in the face of adversity. Every Saturday morning, groups of young people gather around him. Javier not only teaches them self-defense techniques, but also the importance of self-esteem, mutual respect, and civic responsibility. Defending yourself is good, but defending others and your community is even better, he told them. His words resonate with a truth that touches all who listen. However, the police, embarrassed by this turn of events, begin to investigate Javier. The agent in charge of the operation, Inspector Morales, an arrogant police officer known for his brutal methods, feels threatened by Javier's growing reputation. Morales, frustrated by the way the community supports Javier, sees his authority challenged and decides to react. He embarks on a smear campaign, portraying Javier as a dangerous offender in the local media. Morales spreads rumors that Javier has a criminal history and that he manipulates young people into troublemakers. Articles begin to appear, and misinformation spreads, troubling public opinion. Some residents, influenced by these lies, begin to question Javier's common sense and his role as leader. Javier, aware of Morales' schemes, refuses to be defeated. His determination to defend his integrity and protect his community is stronger than ever. He knows he must act quickly to restore the truth. That's when he turns to Rosa, a civil rights lawyer who has fought similar abuses of power before. Rosa is a passionate woman with a strong sense of justice, and she is determined to help Javier. Together, they develop a plan to counter Morales' campaign. Rosa begins by collecting testimonies from those who witnessed the incident, seeking to establish a strong counter-narrative. She meets young people who have participated in Javier's self-defense classes, parents who have seen their child gain confidence thanks to him, and even neighbors who have seen him help others. Each testimony strengthens Javier's position, showing that he is a good man, not a criminal. But Rosa doesn't stop there. She also highlights other abuses of power by police, collecting stories from other victims who suffered from the brutal actions of Morales and his colleagues. She understands that Javier's best defense lies not only in his own story, but in shining a light on a corrupt system that must be confronted. As Morales' campaign intensifies, Javier begins holding public meetings, inviting the community to come together to discuss the issues. At one of these meetings, he speaks passionately about the need to unite to defend their rights. "We all have the right to be heard, to live without fear of abuse," he declared to a captivated audience. Javier's words resonate deeply, and the community begins to speak out against the misinformation, doubling down on support for him. The media, intrigued by the contrast between Morales' accusations and Javier's real story, begins to pay attention. Rosa seizes the opportunity to make herself heard, organizing press conferences where she shares the testimonies she has collected, shedding light on Javier's true nature. Pressure is mounting on the police as public opinion begins to turn against Morales. Faced with this turnaround, Morales, no longer able to control the narrative, becomes more and more desperate. He intensifies his attacks, hoping to discredit Javier by any means possible. But each attempt only strengthens Javier and Rosa's determination. They continue to work together, developing a legal strategy to challenge police abuses and restore Javier's reputation. As tension rises, an unexpected event occurs. A video of the incident, filmed by a passerby, resurfaces. The video clearly shows that Javier did not act violently, but only sought to defend his rights. It's the centerpiece that could change everything. Rosa prepares to reveal this video at a press conference, determined to bring the truth to light. It's time to restore justice, she tells Javier. Together, they are ready to face Morales and the full force of the police, united by their belief that courage and truth will always triumph over fear and corruption. The day of the press conference arrives, and a crowd of journalists, citizens, and Javier supporters gather in front of the court. The atmosphere is electric and the tension palpable. Rosa, standing next to Javier, takes a deep breath before addressing the media. Today we are here not only to defend one man, but to defend truth and justice in our community, she says, her voice ringing with conviction. She then presents the video which shows the incident in detail, revealing the veracity of the events. Javier was legitimately defending himself, while the police acted abusively. As the images played across the screens, a murmur of disbelief ran through the crowd. Journalists are frantically taking notes, and reactions are beginning to emerge on social media. The residents, initially divided, begin to realize that Javier is a man of peace, simply seeking to defend his rights. The impact of the video is immediate. Morales, who attended the press conference with visible arrogance, turned pale as he saw the reactions. Public comments turned against him, while testimonies from other victims of his abuse poured in. Pressure on the police is increasing, and critics are beginning to focus on the need for reform. Faced with this surge of support for Javier, the police chief calls an emergency meeting. Members of the municipal council, as well as representatives of the community, are present. At this meeting, under growing pressure from the community and the media, Morales confronts his actions and the impact of his brutal methods on public trust in the police. In a gesture of desperation, Morales attempts to justify his actions, but his defense only reinforces the doubts. Members of the council, after listening to the citizens' testimonies, decided to take immediate action against him. They announced an independent investigation into the police practices of Morales' team, and he was suspended during the investigation. Javier, meanwhile, becomes the face of change in the city. His self-defense classes continued to attract more and more participants, and he began collaborating with Rosa to establish civil rights awareness programs. They hold workshops in schools and community centers, strengthening the voices of young people and teaching them how to come together to defend their rights. This story reminds us that the fight for justice is a collective journey. It highlights the importance of community, mutual support, and the need to confront abuses of power with courage and determination. Join us for more inspiring stories on ancestral history, where we explore tales of courage, resilience, and struggles for justice. Don't forget to subscribe and share to continue to make these voices resonate that deserve to be heard. Thanks for following us.